Is it 1:20 in the morning? Yes. Do I work tomorrow? Absolutely. Why am I here? Because honestly, I'm just so desperate to try to keep the fun going because I was on call last night. I'm on call again tomorrow. And, you don't want to go to sleep because you don't want what happens when you wake up to happen quite yet. That's kind of where I am. And so I decided to make this video that is mostly a small haul because I bought some books for the new year, but also I wanted to add a few other things. So it is a little chaotic, it is a little messy. But yeah, I'll just tell you what we're doing as we do it. Despite the fact that I am filming a haul, I actually low-key kind of am trying to be anti-consumerism as much as you can, given the fact that we all consume regardless. But I was thinking about it this year, and at least if I am gonna consume, I can try to be like somewhat political with what I consume, and at least like support the authors and the voices that I want to support. So that's kind of what I've been trying to do if I do decide to buy books this year. Now that we're here, I figured I would at least show you guys some of the books I bought because I am super excited about the ones that I did get, and I'm super excited to read them. And without further ado, I'd just like to share them with you. Actually, speaking of this being chaotic, before I even start the books that I bought, maybe I will just quickly tell you the two that I'm currently reading because I want to. Currently, I am reading Amari and the Great Game. So if you don't know, it is the second book in a middle grade fantasy series that honestly is kind of like Harry Potter, except that the main character is a black girl, so it is inherently cooler. And so far, I'm enjoying it. One of my soft goals for 2023 was that I do want to be reading, or I want to at least try to read more middle grade. Not for any particular reason, just that a lot of people have said how much they like how whimsical and, what's the word I'm looking for? Creative the world building can be at times, and that, generally speaking, they're like a fun, wholesome, warm feeling type books, and so I just wanted to try some. Also, apparently there are some pretty good POC written ones, so I thought I would give it a try. So anyways, I tried Keeper of the Lost Cities a while ago, so that's probably the only one where I've read a decent amount, but obviously that one's written by a white woman, so I wanted to try a few other ones. So Amari and the Night Brothers was one that I had heard good things about. I did read it, and while I liked it, I will say the fact that I read it like soon after I had just finished Bloodmarked, which I talked about in my previous video, I think kind of made it so that I didn't quite like Amari and the Night Brothers as much. But only slightly, and obviously I've realized that one is YA and closer to my age, whereas the other one is middle grade, and it's probably not fair to compare the two, but here we are. I'm reading the second one right now, and personally I actually prefer the second one so far. I'm about 70% of the way into it. I know that a lot of the reviews, at least that I had read on Goodreads, said that they preferred the first one by a lot, and that the second one, maybe because it was more like character driven and less like action, or that the characters weren't all together the way they wanted. You can go read them if you want, but a lot of people kind of complained that the second one wasn't quite as good. And I disagree. So far, I really like the second one. Despite everything, I'm excited to see where the series goes. I have no idea how many books will be in the series, but for now, I think I'll probably continue it. And then another one of the middle grades that I hope to read soon is Zachary Ying, something dragon. Zachary Ying and the Dragon Emperor. So already I have gone from wanting to show you my haul to talking about my current reads to potentially giving you a TBR, but let's just keep going on. The other current read that I read today was An Arrow to the Moon by Emily X.R. Pan. Emily X.R. Pan is known for writing The Astonishing Color of After, which is a book that I read a few years ago, and honestly, I thought it was gorgeous. I thought her writing is very vivid, like it truly paints a picture, and it is just gorgeous to read about. It's also kind of magical realism-ish. Actually, not ish, it's full. Well, I don't know, it is magical realism, and it is just really beautiful. This one in particular deals with topics of grief, and then this one is about, I don't know if it's a full Romeo and Juliet retelling but it's kind of about star-crossed lovers. And so far, I'm really enjoying it. I'm about 100 pages in, so like 25-30%. And the one thing that I will say is there's like a touch of insta-love, at least so far, between the main couple, but it's kind of presented as like fated to be together slash fairy tale vibes slash like fable, you know what I mean? Like more like a force of nature kind of forced them to be together, as opposed to like they met and they just fell in love. So I actually don't mind it, even though I don't usually like insta love. And again, the writing vibes are still there. It is still so gorgeous, and I highly recommend picking up one of her books if you at all are into like flowery prose, vivid, good writing. I don't know how to say it. If you're into, yeah, like flowery or just like beautiful lyrical type writing, I would definitely recommend trying something by Emily X. Arpan, because so far I loved the first book and the first 100 pages of this one. So now that I've given you my current reads and some random chaotic thoughts as well, let's move on to the next portion. Sorry, I'm moving the books around. Let's move on to my haul. So the first thing that I got earlier last year, I started reading Witch Hat Atelier, and it was one of my favorite manga that I had read last year. So obviously last year I also read Spy Family, which Spy Family is amazing and it's getting all the hype that it deserves. But Witch Hat Atelier, I think, honestly is really, really, really cool. And it also feels very unique. I haven't read a ton of manga, so I can't for sure say that there's nothing out there quite like this, but honestly, who cares? The artwork is fucking stunning. It is so gorgeous and so beautiful. And then on top of that, there's like this really engaging story right from the get-go. I personally find, at least with manga, sometimes there's 1 or 2 volumes that are more just setting up the premise, especially if it's going to be like fantasy, where you kind of need that world building. But honestly, this one from the very first volume kind of had me hooked, and I thought it was super engaging and very easy to follow. So 5 out of 5 for the first volume, and then from there it just got more and more interesting. And I haven't read these 2 obviously because I just bought them, but this is them. And I am super excited to get to these hopefully very soon. So the next book that I bought is Once Upon a K-Prom by Kat Cho. Now I did show this in my previous video, so I won't spend too much time. But this is a book that I actually already read, and it is a K-pop meets regular girl romance kind of thing. I won't really go too much into details, but if you like books about K-pop, you will probably like this. I think that's all you need to know, and you can go read the premise. Last time I kind of showed, but the inside of the dust jacket is super gorgeous and has all the K-pop members. And yeah. For this one in particular, I've already read it obviously, but I did buy it to kind of support K-pop books because I want more on the market. So that is what I meant by me trying to be politically conscious when I buy books. So Once Upon a K-Prom, if you're a fan of XOXO by Axio, you'll probably like this. And then there's another one called Soulmates, which I think is kind of similar, that I also want to read, but I don't know if that one revolves around like a K-pop star, or if it's just 2 Koreans in Korea. So that's one that I might check out soon too. Also, some bonus content, since there is no structure to this, but I am currently watching the K-drama called Extraordinary You, and I just want to do a little shout out to this drama because it is so good. I'm really, really, really liking it. It is very meta, it is so funny, and if you are at all a fan of like classic K-dramas or like more teenage school setting ones, you will absolutely love this. At least I think so. And I would give you a premise, but I'm not being lazy. I truly think it is best to go into this one blind. Even my friend had asked me what it's about when I recommended it, and I said that by giving you the premise, I feel like you kind of ruin the first 6 to 8 episodes. They're only half an hour long, so I guess it'd be like 3 to 4 real K-drama episodes, but I just find it's best to not know what's going on because the characters themselves are confused a little bit in the beginning, and so it's fun to just discover everything along with them instead of already knowing about it. If you're a fan of K-dramas, I really think you will like this one. It's based on a webtoon, and you know that the webtoons usually are funny great, already super popular and approved by the internet, so it's a good one to check out. Also, Roan, if you know him, he's in this and he looks so. Next, I got Dauntless by Elisa A. Bonin. So I will say a lot of these were somewhat cover buys. In case you care how I buy my books, I look at the covers and the cover reels me in. And then usually I will check Goodreads to just make sure that the vibes are kind of maybe what I want. I read like a few reviews, hopefully don't spoil myself. I look at the ratings, and also sometimes if there's like a huge red flag, it'll be there, like it'll be all 1 stars, and then everyone will say like why the book is bad. So I just find it prevents me buying something to then later realize, oh, this was like a well-known, super, I don't know, homophobic book, and then that way I didn't support it. So I do like double check it. Yeah, if I kind of like it, then I buy it. Obviously, like when I had no money and I was young, I used to get books from the library, and then if I really liked it, I would go and buy it. But lately I find now that I do have some money, if it's a book where I kind of want to support the author or like that type of story, I don't really care if I'll like it or not. And so some of these, like if I'm supporting a POC or like a queer author or some kind of own voices story, then at least I'm like, you know, I'm uplifting that voice, maybe hopefully in publishing. So I don't really care if I do or don't like it, and then I can give it away and someone else, you know, can thrift the book and get to read a cool story for even less money. So that's how I justify this. Not that you have to. Anyways, so I got Dauntless. Now, it wasn't just the cover that drew me in, but also if you ever read, why am I drawing blank? If you ever read Divergent, now I'm questioning myself, but I'm pretty sure Dauntless is one of the factions in Divergent, and I'm gonna fact check before I say that. The word Dauntless made me think of Divergent, which is also why I picked up the book. Oh my god, okay, thank you. Okay, Dauntless is a faction. Okay, good. Oh wow, that is embarrassing. So yes, Dauntless is a faction. Anyways, if you read Divergent, then you know why I picked up this book. But yes, the cover was cool. The title was cool. This is a debut novel. Actually, a lot of these are debut novels. But it was a debut novel by a author who is Filipino, and again, totally unrelated, but there's a new neurologist who's working with our program, and she's from the Philippines. And not that this book at all makes me closer to that staff member, but I don't know, I guess the Philippines was on my mind, so I was like, you know, the stars are aligning, maybe I should buy this book. Now that I'm saying it out loud, it's pretty embarrassing, but those were all the factors that contributed to me purchasing this book, and I am pretty excited to read it. It also involves a sapphic romance, if that is your cup of tea. The next book that I bought is As Long as the Lemon Tree Grow. That made no sense. The next book that I bought is As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow, which I am so excited for, but I am also very nervous because apparently it is extremely sad. Recently, I read a very sad book. So again, we're gonna pause for a second. But recently I read The Silence That Binds Us by Joanna Ho, and like this was a 5-star read for me. It was absolutely so gorgeous. One of the best, actually the best representation of grief that I have seen. Just a stunning piece of work. And I cried so much reading this book, and every time I was reading the book, I was on the verge of tears. So if I was like in a public place, I tried not to, but if I was alone, I was probably crying while reading it. But I really enjoyed it, and after having read it, I kind of was like, I don't know, I feel like I miss, maybe not necessarily hard-hitting YA, but just reading about things that somehow I can relate to, and just reading something that I really like, or that is moving, or that emotionally touches me. And so I wanted to chase that high, especially after having read Bloodmarked just recently, and then I read this, and I was like, and also all of last year I had a lot of meh reads, so coming off of that, anti-high and then getting on this high, I was like, I need to continue reading really amazing stuff. And then I was lucky because obviously it was the end of the year, so a lot of people had their like best books of 2022 list. And this one in particular, the Lemon Tree one, I had seen on, I don't know her full channel name, but it's Carrie, and she like lives in Korea. I will link the video or channel, but she's really popular, so you probably already know her. But I think it's Carrie Can Read. But anyways, I saw it on her video. She said a lot of good things about it, and given that it's about the like whole situation that has been happening, I guess, in Syria, I just knew that I have to read this. I'm positive that I will like it, and also a debut novel, and also an author that I want to support. So I'm just all around very excited to read this one, and it is also very, very, very pretty. The next book that I got is Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute. So I mean, this is the new YA by Talia Hibbert. I feel like it doesn't really need an introduction because Talia Hibbert is super popular. She is known for the wow, why are names so hard today? The Chloe Brown like trilogy. Chloe Brown, Dani Brown, I forget the third sister's name, but that whole series I've read. They're very enjoyable. Anyways, this apparently is her first YA. It's very short. To be honest with you, it's very cold here right now because we're in the middle of January, but for some weird reason, this one and another book that I bought on the haul, I just in my head was like, what if one day down the line I go to the beach and I need one book to read that day at the beach? And that was why I bought this book. Am I going to the beach anytime soon? No. But I just thought this would be a really good beach read, so I bought it. And I also think it's one of those books like that you could read in one sitting. It's super cute, super fun. Not that I need more reasons, but yeah. I guess one other thing, another soft goal for 2023 is that I wanted to like read my physical books more. I read a ton on my phone, and I have like an e-reader or whatever, especially now that there's the Hoopla app. I find I can get books and audiobooks from the library so quickly compared to before, because rarely do you even have to like wait for them. A lot of them are available and they have a huge selection. Not that this is an ad, but anyways, I just find like I've been looking at my phone a lot or looking at a screen a lot, and I kind of wanted to get back to actually enjoying just sitting down and reading a physical book, and maybe like as part of a unwinding before bed routine. I haven't fully decided yet, but I did want to try something where I either do like 100 pages a night, or I do, 30 minutes before bed, something like that. Although I do read faster on a screen, I find, than having the physical. There's something like nice and nostalgic about the physical. So that was another thing that kind of prompted me to buy a few more of these like read in one sitting books. Anyways, along those lines, and the reason I gave you that 5-minute tangent is because the next book I got was Right Where I Left You, and this one's by Julian Winters. So apparently they're famous for a book, something to do with lions. Julian Winters wrote Running with Lions, which I've never read, but I have definitely seen this book around, and I've seen it on several lists of like cool LGBTQ plus books. So I don't know. Again, I liked the cover. I wanted a fun romance, and it's been a while since I have read something about coming of age and found family, and I find that the queer books do those two things the best. So that's what made me reach for this. And also apparently in this book, there's like a heavy focus on geek culture and like fandoms and stuff. So I thought I'll probably like this book as well. Hey, it's future me. Having actually looked at this, I don't think there's any found family in it. I think I just assumed that if it did have found family, it would be well done, but actually looking at it, I think it's more just coming of age and gays being happy, which are still equally as good, but I just thought I should clarify because yeah, I'm not trying to mislead you since we're all being picky about our consumerism, but the like preamble, I don't know what these are called, not the dedication, but like the intro piece says, to all the Black and brown LGBTQIA plus readers who haven't seen their version of a happy ending anywhere yet. Sometimes we have to create our own. I believe in you. Until then, this one's for you. Also, my last random thought for the video, hopefully, because I only have 2 more books. Even though I did buy books, I have lately been thinking about how the publishing industry and books in general probably waste a ton of paper, and I don't know how I feel about that, but it's something I've kind of thought about lately. And so I've been, even though I want to read the physical books, and there's something nice and relaxing about not using screen time, and it's probably better for your eyes. It's nice knowing that the e-copies don't necessarily create as much paper waste. So it'll be interesting. I have to look into it. It'd just be interesting to see like how much paper the publishing industry uses, and then like what happens with all the old books, because they obviously must print way too many, and then a bunch. I'm just curious where they all go. I am sure that I can find a Netflix documentary about this, and if I ever read about it, I will come let you know. Anyways, the next book that I bought, this one by far I think is the most stunning cover of the books that I have today, and it really drew me in. Today when I was at the bookstore, I think it was this book, and then reading what it was about and the reviews and seeing the cover, that I was like, I can't not buy books today. I just really can't. This one's truly speaking to me. It is just so gorgeous, and it is called This Place Is Still Beautiful. I don't know how to pronounce the author's name. I might be wrong, but it's This Place Is Still Beautiful by ZZ Tian, and wow, I'm gonna cover my face. But I think it is so pretty. That's the back. I guess it's a little less pretty, but I just thought like it was so gorgeous. I love that it looks like it's painted. I just love that they look like bad bitches, and yeah, honestly, I initially thought that they were lovers, but I feel like they're actually sisters based off of the premise. I just heard that it's also a debut novel, and that the reviews so far are looking promising. Yeah, I'm so excited to read this one. I really hope that it delivers, because I will be very sad if I have to give it away, because it sucks. Okay, and then the last book that I bought is called Man-Made Monsters. It's by Andrea L. Rogers. So this one I am super excited about. It is a very cool concept, and I have a feeling that I'm gonna have a lot of fun reading it. So it is by a Cherokee author, and essentially she has written a bunch of short stories, all in the genre of horror, and they're about like different types of demons and horrors that kind of are affecting this family throughout the ages. And it is all types of horror. So it's like paranormal horror, but also just like the horrors of life. So there are some content warnings. Obviously I haven't read the book, so do check that out. I am so excited for this one. I just feel like, especially with this whole nighttime unwinding routine, like if I don't want to commit to a full book or like read a manga or something like that, I can just pick one short story, read a snippet, and then over time, hopefully like over several months, I'll slowly make my way through the book. And it's kind of like an anthology, but it's better because it's not really an anthology, you know, like it all lines up together to make one bigger story. I'm really excited for this one. Okay, also, I don't know if you can tell, but the paper quality is really good. Here's like the family line and stuff. Each story, well, this is the cover, but each story comes with a little picture as well that I'm sure will make more sense after I've read the story. But yeah, this is gorgeous. Honestly, like I opened it up and I read just like the little intro quote, and I was like, I am gonna love this. And I'm gonna make you listen to it, or you can just forward it or end the video. But anyways, Cherokee speakers view the world as a large room that one enters by one door at birth and exits by another at death. Given the grammar of Cherokee, in this room there are all the things that have happened, will happen, or could ever happen. People move through the room over the course of their lives. Behaviors that people engage in today are witnessed by their ancestors. The events that affected their ancestors are also visible here in the room. In the Cherokee view, there must be consequences for violating the principles that hold everything together in balance. That's by Heidi Altman and Thomas Beltz. I just thought, wow, I feel like I'm gonna love this. I don't know why. I just feel like this is something that will add brain cells instead of take them away. And that is all that we want in 2023. With that, that is my haul. I don't know if I'm any closer to trying to go to bed for work tomorrow because now I have all this excitement energy. So I will maybe go clean. I hope that you have a good day. And if you're still around and want to chat with me, feel free to leave me your thoughts on consumerism down below because it has been on my mind a lot lately and just how absolutely inescapable it is. So yeah, bye.